Small town. Damn, that's you strictly. Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
You are now tuned in to your number one sports podcast, All Things Sports. I'm your co-host, Small Town EP, joined by your host, Wade Julian. I'm live from Atlanta. He's live from New York City, and we are back to give you the real in sports. June, good to see you. Been about a week. How you been up there in New York? How's the summer treating you so far?
Good, bro. Ups and downs. I would say it was more of a um it was an interesting week. Like I said, ups and downs, dealing with some personal stuff, but um sports world, it brought us a lot this week. We got a lot of material to cover. Football is just one more week, closer. And really what I'm that's just really where I'm laying my head at night, knowing that football is only about 6 more Sundays away, 6 or 7. We'll get what is it, Scott Hansen? I hate getting them mixed up. We get Scott Hansen in our living rooms. When Chris Hansen's in your living room, you got a problem. We want Scott Hansen on a 55 inch. So,
Facts.
couple more weeks, man. Everything's been good for the most part, but ups and downs. So, if you are out there listening, say a prayer for my family, and I appreciate that. So, but nonetheless, it's good to be back. See you, talk some sports with you, and give the people what they want, bro.
Yeah, let's get right into it, man. Olympic basketball in full fledged right now. USA did play Serbia yesterday, the USA team versus Nikola Jokic and company. The USA did dominate, man, for most of the game to a tune of 110-84, scoring 52 points in the second half to Serbia's 45 points. But I mean, that second half kind of, card doesn't really tell the whole story as the USA outscored Serbia in every single quarter. Was this more of the performance that you were expecting for the USA to put on once the official games got started, June?
Yes. I short answer, yes. I did think that they would up it a little bit. I didn't know that they were going to be able to catch rhythm this fast, this early versus a good competitive team like Serbia. Group play is going to be important here. Um, but listen, I don't think anybody was expecting off the bench Kevin Durant to go 8 of 9 from the field, 5 of 5 from three, and finish with 23 points. I don't think any of us saw that coming. We saw Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton, kind of getting more wind and more run during the exhibition series. Obviously, because Kevin Durant was hurt, wasn't cleared yet. But once he got that okay from the doctor, I mean, he hasn't missed a step, and it was just awesome to see. I love watching Kevin Durant, play Olympic basketball, one of the best players of all time, and it's just so pure, and it there's just another level that KD has because you got the world's greatest defenders in the NBA, and they can't even stop him. Once he gets it going, it's like we're putting the best we got on the best they got, but like it's a little bit more of a mismatch, when he's playing against the world. And so Kevin Durant, just to watch him be able to, shoot silky smooth and come back from the injury healthy and put up numbers like this was really exciting for me. And then also, you know, Captain L'America, right? King James. I mean, what hasn't he done? Like, what hasn't he done? And the GOAT conversation is neither here nor there, but this man is 39 years old, fighting for his country. We said fighting for his country. Don't let I don't want the military to take that wrong. No offense, but playing for his country and doing so at the highest fashion. Being the best player on the floor when available. It's none other than LeBron James, and so to do this at this age, it just shows like it's just another one of the greatness. I guess achieve things that he can achieve at this point in his career.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I got a question for you though. Are the 17 team turnovers for the US still a bit alarming, or you think they're just still shaking some rust off?
It's both. Um, I would I wouldn't say rust. I would say they're still figuring things out because these guys are coming off of a full season. They all played, they all had great seasons. So I don't think any of them are rusty. I think that putting this group of talent together under Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra, um, yeah, that's a challenge. And I don't think they're over that hill yet of figuring it out and who's going to get the most of the steam. Jason Tatum didn't even play versus Serbia, and Coach Kerr was quoted saying, one, he feels stupid that Tatum didn't play, and two, he thinks it was more of a matchups based thing, and he'll get some burn here in game two. But I mean, look at that! Like you're so good that Jason Tatum, the Finals champion, doesn't even get a minute. So, do I
Facts.
think that they're rusty? No, I think that they have to kind of get more time to gel together, but they better do it fast. And then as far as 17 turnovers, I mean, 17 turnovers in a basketball game, whether you're in rec league, NBA, college, FIBA,
Yeah.
that's alarming. It's not good, and you have to clean it up. You're not going to be able to beat every single team, you know, with that amount of mistakes. So thankfully they were lighting it up, and Serbia didn't have enough. But yeah, 17 is crazy.
Yeah, and like you were saying, Serbia just didn't have enough. Really, King James, of course, LeBron James scoring 21 points. Durant off the bench, like you mentioned earlier, scoring 23. Jokic scored 20. Jovic off the bench scored 5. Bogdanovic starting scored 14 for Serbia. So they definitely were distributing the ball. They just weren't able to get it done. I want to kick it over to the chat real quick. Michele 3000 in there. What up? He's saying, after these games, who do you think shouldn't be there, June?
I'll say this. Yesterday was the first game The first game that we had that actually mattered. But if I look at this roster top to bottom, the odd man out is Joel Embiid. I don't know that there's a place for him. I mean, almost everybody. Okay, to be fair, none of the big men were in double digits, and we're not looking for Joel Embiid or Anthony Davis or Bam Adebayo to go and get us 20, right? We have wing, we have Ant Man, we got LeBron, we got KD, Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, Steph Curry, like. But I also don't think 2 rebounds is acceptable, right? Like
Mm.
Bam Adebayo, 20 minutes, 2 rebounds. I don't like that. Anthony Davis put up 19 minutes, 8 rebounds. Like show some effort, and the ball may not swing your way. You might not get all the shots you want, but there has to be something on the box score that shows that you went out there and did something. And I would just short answer Joel Embiid just because um, as far as the other big men on the team, Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo, I would favor them. Um, but yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily say I want Joel Embiid off the team. I love Joel Embiid, but if I have to answer that, I'm gonna go with Joe. What
Yeah, I
about you,
mean,
D?
I, I'm probably gonna say the same. I mean, you can't. You started. You played 11 minutes, and Bam came off the bench, played 20. You got the same amount of points, same number of rebounds, but I just Embiid. I mean, we've talked about it. Like you need to be conditioning for the season that's coming up. Like you probably shouldn't be playing Olympic basketball, knowing that when May June comes around, what I mean, your fatigue starts to kick in, your conditioning or lack of, I don't know how that works, starts to kind of show itself. So it's definitely I would say Joel Embiid, especially coming off of those comments about how injuries are taking him away from the GOAT conversation. But that's neither here nor there. I think your performance in the Olympics right now. So if you're talking about right now, your performance
Yeah,
in the Olympics right now is what's taken away from your GOAT conversation, with the addition of your performance in the playoffs overall, not just last year, because you did what you could last year, made some bonehead moves, but just right now, you probably should be resting up and not really forcing it too much, as they
yeah.
say, right? Hey, man, Puerto Rico falls to South Sudan. South Sudan, we saw a dog of a team, took the USA to the brink, almost beat the USA team. Puerto Rico had a run. First game in, they draw South Sudan in the group stage, and they fall to a tune of 90-79. Puerto Rico did control the majority of the first half. We're leading after the half, and then we're only able to score 25 points in the second. 25 points in the second half to a South Sudan team that has their back against the wall. Wenyan Gabriel scored 6 points. I mean, Dane came off the bench, scored 4 points. But you got, Jones scoring 19, Shayok scoring 15, Cool scoring 12. They distributed the ball, I mean, beautifully. They had 18 team assists. Jose Alvarado did leave the game momentarily with an apparent ankle injury, came back, did what he could, wasn't giving up, just wasn't enough to beat South Sudan in the first round. What kind of effort do you expect from Puerto Rico in the second game of these group stages, June?
I mean, maximum. This was a game that I think it's a game they could have won, should have won, because the caption or the headline says, South Sudan stuns Puerto Rico. I don't know, bro. Like, put some respect on South Sudan at this point. This is a team that was a 43.5 point underdog to the United States, and I think won by 1 point,
Yeah.
or lost by 1 point. So I don't understand the headline here where you say, South Sudan sneaks one out against Puerto Rico. Clearly, South Sudan is a fucking good team. And I mean, as far as Puerto Rico, did they expect this? No, I'm sure that they thought going into the game, hey, it's South Sudan. We can win this. And if that was the case, that's on them, because South Sudan is a good basketball team. Shout out to the beautiful women of South Sudan, by the way, East Africa.
Facts,
But
facts.
I mean, I expect Puerto Rico to come out, next game, maximum effort. Effort isn't a thing that Puerto Ricans or Puerto Rico national basketball team is questioned about. Like that's not. I mean, the way they win games most of the time, is through high effort. I mean, look at Jose Alvarado is a perfect example of what the Puerto Rican national team embodies. He comes to
Absolutely.
the NBA, and we know him as this guy with high energy who's always trying to go after the ball and really get down and dirty for it. So, shout out to them. But it's to me, it's like South Sudan is a team we need to talk about. They got Thor, Wenyan Gabriel. You know what I'm saying? They got Kune. So they got some guys over there that like they're the people that have the back against the wall. They are the people with nothing to
Hmm.
lose. They are the people that think, all right, nobody's believing in us. Why can't we do it then? Let's show. And typically, when you play like that and you play with, love for your teammates and love for the game, good things happen. So they were able to come out victorious. Who does Puerto Rico have after this one?
I believe it's Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken. That's like a must win for it to be the second game of group stages. Um, I gotta verify that though.
I'll double check. No worries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like you were saying, man, and like I mentioned, Jose Alvarado going down with that ankle injury and coming back, played 32 minutes, scored 26 points. I mean, still, put the team on his back, but again, just wasn't enough. Waters, 30 minutes, 18 points. I mean, Condit the fourth, 13 points, 25 minutes. I mean, you had people coming off the bench like Toro, 10 minutes, no points, unacceptable,
Yeah.
completely unacceptable. Ortiz off the bench, 25 minutes, 3 points, unacceptable, bro. Like, I think you're right, man. I think that they came into this game thinking, and they maybe are gassed out from the game that they had to play against the U.S. And I think they played one game in between them playing Puerto Rico and South Sudan. And yeah, the East Africans don't run out of gas, bro. That's a fact. And they are going to fight until that clock has 0-0-0 at the end of the fourth
Yeah.
quarter.
I,
Whew.
I'll say this though, real quick. They got Wednesday is the 31st, I believe.
Yes,
Wednesday, shot to the 31st. That's my pop's birthday. They'll be playing Serbia, so this is
Serbia.
Group C. I didn't realize they were in Group C, but yeah, they'll play Serbia at 11:15 a.m. on Wednesday. And hey, it's gonna be a challenge, man. It's gonna be a challenge, dog. And
Yeah, it is.
Serbia will probably come out with that one. I'm not even gonna lie. The way that Puerto Rico came out versus South Sudan is making me nervous. Serbia played a really good game until it wasn't on Sunday versus
Yeah.
yesterday versus US.
And Puerto Rico
Um,
did the same thing. They played a good game until it just wasn't a good game. 25 points the second half, unacceptable. 12 and a half points a quarter. That's a point
yeah,
a minute, unacceptable.
yeah.
Absolutely unacceptable.
It's funny. We got in the chat. Ray Ray says, "What's Kerr's is obsession with Derek White?" And then SP, shout out to SP man. He said, "Fuck Kerr for benching Tatum." So one shout out to SP. If you were listening or if you re-listen to this and you hear the new intro music that we have, man, that's strictly SP. That's small town right there, finest producer. So we appreciate him for working with us through that. Um, Kerr's obsession with Derek White. I'll say this, Ray. Derek White, as much as I come on here and I talk all this shit and I hate him, and he's a champion, and I gotta give him that. I gotta cut him a little slack. He's representing the country, and he's a champion. These are two things that I cannot hate on. I can't. He makes elite level defensive plays.
Yeah, his
He's going
IQ
to
is
do
up there.
the dirty shit. He's going not the dirty shit in a bad way. He's going to get down and dirty, is what I mean. And he's going to do the things that you don't want to tell Kevin Durant to go do. You don't want to tell LeBron and Steph to have to do. He will gladly, press 94 feet, all game if he had to. So, you have Derek White for opportunity. You have him there for, the hungry guy who isn't, you know, a list. And so shout out to Derek White, man. I never thought I'd say that. I'm not turning a stone here. This is not any type of fan fandom. No, this is just, I'm being real about it. Shout out to Derek White for representing the country and and using maximum effort.
There it is. There it is. Hey, before we get off Olympic basketball or Olympic sports in general, I was today years old when I found out that Chase Budinger is a volleyball player now.
Hell yeah.
I
Hell
had
yeah.
no idea. Shout out to Small Town Cons. A while years ago, he had a fire Budinger bar in a record that me and him had, and I saw that posted, and I was like, "He plays volleyball now?" Like me and him had a quick laugh about that because that was definitely interesting to see.
Yeah, he was definitely snapping, bro.
That's fire.
Did I think the women's uh played played Japan today? Am I
Yes,
wrong?
they played Japan.
I, I say this though. Is it am I tripping or is anybody else having a hard time trying to find the results in the box score and all this for the
It's
fucking
tough. Yeah, ESPN's making it very hard for you to
I
find the
don't know.
Olympic box
I
scores.
hate the ESPN app by the way. I've declared that probably 3 weeks ago. It's just it's not it could be so much better and it just isn't, but that's another thing. Women's Olympic basketball, I know we won. I mean, it's Japan, but I didn't know what the score was. And it was 102-76. Asia Wilson and
Damn.
Brianna Stewart had 46 points combined. Asia Wilson had like 13 boards as well. So shout out to them girls over there, man, doing anything. Because, the men gonna win, but the women gonna win too. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? Like, we got to do this in unison. Like, this basketball is an American sport, right? Like, y'all love it across the world, and I think it's a beautiful thing for the guys in South Sudan. Shout out to Luol Deng, big shout out, bro. Like, I didn't know. I found out today that he's the one that's putting all this money out of his pocket
For the last
for
four
the South
years.
Sudan
Yeah.
team. Yeah, and travel, hotel,
Plane tickets,
playing,
everything.
practice, all this. He's putting that together. So shout out to Luol Deng and whoever obviously is in his corner and helping him with all that stuff. It doesn't take one person, obviously. Um, but we love to see, the game grow beyond our walls, right? They
Hmm.
love the game in Germany. I mean, they love the game in Europe in general, Africa in general. I feel like even South America, obviously with Argentina, they've always had that pipeline. But I feel like more countries are taking to basketball.
Hmm.
It's not theirs though, right? And we've made it a point since the Redeem team in 2008 that we're not going to lose the gold medal. And so um, that's why I preach maximum effort, because this team has the potential to never lose an Olympic, what I'm saying, gold medal ever. So hopefully the women get it done. Hopefully the men get it done. It's a good start. Day one, Sunday for the men's, Monday for the women, getting promising victories over said opponents.
Shout out to your Unc Ernest in the chat saying the game was boring without Reese and Clark. And just again, we're gonna pivot off of Olympics, but Yao Ming as well, being a part of the women's China women's basketball coaching staff. I mean, I think that just speaks volumes as well to the buy-in of a national legend for them and wanting to continue to grow the game overseas as well.
Real quick though, like, so we're here now. We had a couple discussions at the time when they selected the U.S. women's team, and there was no Caitlin Clark on there. There is no Angel Reese on there, and I mean, let's be for real. Rookies haven't really done too much. Having great seasons, right? Rookie of the Year candidates. Much respect to what they got going on in the WNBA. However, competing for a gold medal is something that I think comes with time a bit. Um, and I was on the side and still am on the side that I believe Caitlin Clark didn't necessarily deserve a spot. Angel Reese probably doesn't deserve a spot. But now that we're watching, right, a few weeks later, how does it make you feel knowing like, all right, well, damn. I mean, Caitlin Clark is one of the bright spots in the WNBA. She sells a lot of tickets. It's fun to watch her play. We're good enough as a country to represent without her. We don't need her. But like, aren't we missing something? Are we missing something? Not aren't, but are we missing something? Or are we
Yeah,
just fine?
there was a major opportunity that was missed, trying to again grow the game overseas, and Caitlin Clark, just with her persona, her aura, what she brings to the game outside of her athleticism, outside of the sport itself, what she brings to the game. There was maybe, not maybe, definitely a large opportunity missed. I mean, Dawn Staley said it herself. She said, hey, apparently at the time of the selection, Caitlin Clark, was going through all the, you know, I guess hate that she was receiving, from players and things like that, and lack of leadership and guidance that she wasn't receiving from players. And I do think that that put a little bit of a battery in her back. And since then, since not being selected, and since being able to overcome all of that lack of guidance and that hate that she was getting from around the league and
Hey,
things
cut
like
it out,
that.
bro. Cut it out. The hate was real. It was there. It's there. It's there.
I definitely think there was an opportunity that was missed, and Dawn State said it herself. Hey, she wasn't playing to the caliber she is right now,
Yeah.
currently, while we are playing in these Olympic Games. And if she was at the level, playing at the level and at the consistency that she is right now, back then she probably would have been selected. How do you feel about it?
I like that take, and I much respect to anything Don Staley says. I mean, that's a legend, So she speaks, we listen, kind of thing. She knows more about the subject than I do, and I can now see what she's saying because you're right. Caitlin Clark did step up her play since even before the All Star game, but around the time that she was, I don't want to use the word snubbed, before the USA women's basketball roster was announced, and she found out that she hadn't made the team. Um, just I had one more topic I wanted to pivot with. So WNBA season is ongoing at the moment, but our biggest stars like Breonna Stewart, Asia Wilson, like how does that? I didn't think about that. I didn't think that oh shit, mid-season our stars are going to be in Paris while WNBA season's going on right now. How does that work? Like
Yeah, teams are missing players. It's something that they'll have to adjust. They'll have to kind of roll
crazy.
with the punches
That's
in
crazy.
season. A lot of teams are going to be probably playing around with different rosters, different rotations. And I think in about a week or so, we'll see, a week or two probably, we'll see what the real impact to missing some of those starters, with
Right.
Vegas missing a couple starters and Phoenix missing a couple starters. We'll see what the effect is through, again, the conditioning and the longevity of these new rotations, and coaches kind of plugging and throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks in the
Yeah.
moment, having to just adapt on the fly like that.
I got nothing else on women's on women's basketball, by the way.
Say that. We'll kick it over to the NFL because we had a lot of stuff go on, and I will start with the Tua Tagovailoa contract extension that we have been waiting for. We have spoke about, and it has arrived. The Dolphins extend him 4 years, 212.4 million over 4 years, which includes $167 million guaranteed, eighth most amongst quarterbacks. June, what does this extension say about the Dolphins, and how does it affect the market?
Well, the number affects the market in a way that we've never seen before because obviously we'll talk about it, but Jordan Love got paid too, right? And they was like, "Where's Tua?" All right, well, here you are. And then after that, I mean, Dak Prescott still got to get his bread. So now it's like, does he go over Jordan Love, the quarterback who knocked him out in the first round last year? But because Dak record has more of a track record and a resume put together, does that help his case? That's what it does. If I can answer the question, that's what it does to the market. Um, but the Dolphins did the right thing, bro. I know you're not necessarily the biggest fan of this here. I know you had choice words as far as how much he should get and the number. Fact of the matter is, Tua is a 6'1 quarterback who's lefty, and he's found success. We haven't found a lot of 6'1 lefty quarterbacks in the league that were successful, that could win, let alone lead the league in passing, 4,600 yards, tied for fifth in touchdowns, 29, only had 14 interceptions. QBR, top 10, 60.8. And so you look at these numbers, and this is like, okay, Tua Tagovailoa in his first season as #1 guy with a new quarterback, new coach, with a new coach, right? he was dealing with the Brian Flores situation, which I think could have really, really set his career back another 3 or 4 years. Thankfully, he got out of there. But he went from, you know, playing half of a season, 1,800 yards, then throwing for 2,600 yards, dealing with some injuries, then going for 3,500 yards, and then going to 4,600. I mean, 4,600 yards is it's almost 5,000 yards of offense, and that's just one guy. I don't have an issue, especially if my name is Miami Dolphin, paying this guy anything he wants. And 53 was a number. 53 got it done. It's a hefty number. It's a lot. You're going to have to sacrifice other skill positions. You're not going to be able to build the biggest, best, strongest team, you know, around him with a contract like that. But he deserves it. And this is for you, Naima, if you're still here. Shout out to you. Appreciate the kind words today. This ain't no Jalen Brunson situation. Quarterback ain't gonna take no fucking. And Tom Brady ain't in the league no more. That shit. We saw how much Tom Brady got paid from Fox, and he did all this league shit because he knew once I leave this league, first of all, I'm already making money through all these endorsements. Secondly, when I leave the league, Fox, whatever broadcast money I'm gonna get is gonna be crazy bag. This ain't no Jalen Brunson situation. Tua Tagovailoa is not going to take a discount for 10 million, let alone 113 for the Dolphins. He's owed money due to his performance and where he's taken this team, and deservedly so. He got paid. I'm just excited for him because the Dolphins haven't had the problem, like the first world problem, as I say, of we have a quarterback that's under contract year and we need to pay him, but he wants too much money and he also kind of deserves it. Like, that's a great problem to have.
Sound like one of them good problems.
And thankfully, you know, this is a conversation that's not going to have to come up for the next 4 years or so, right? So I'm excited for Tua and the Dolphins in general. I mean, this is a celebration for Miami. Like, Dan Marino was the last real quarterback the Dolphins can say, hey, you know what? Take us to the Super Bowl. We have a real opportunity here. Chad Pennington gave him some hope. Couldn't do it.
You know, since the turn of the century, right before Dan Marino retired in the 2000, before the 2000 season, the Dolphins have had 25 players, including Tua, to start one game for them since the turn of the century. The only one to get at quarterback. The only
you
one
have
to
all
sign.
those names there? I'm sorry.
Nah, I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. The only one of those players to get a multi-year extension in the last 24 years, Ryan Tannehill.
Facts.
So yeah, bro, they're going through like a quarterback kind of purgatory, if I may.
Bro, the Dolphins. So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they're also the only team with 3 offensive skill players now making at least $70 million in guaranteed money: Tyreek, Jalen, and now Tua. And their combined $310.8 million guarantees, the third most for any offensive skill trio. Which I wanted to ask you. It seems like they're going all in, and they're paying a lot of people a lot of money. How long can this sustain? And do you think that with the amount of money that they're paying these players, it's Super Bowl or bust at this point in Miami?
So I do think it is Super Bowl or bust because they have constructed a well put roster. They have put together a well constructed roster, I should say. Was it Waddle, Hill, and Tagovailoa that combined for 310?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, those are the guys that he's throwing it to. So if number 1 and number 2 and the quarterback are on pace for leading the league in passing yards, I ain't too mad at that right there. I feel like that's kind of money well spent, if you ask me. But it is Super Bowl or bust because this is a Dolphins team that hasn't won a Super Bowl since the 70s, let alone made an AFC championship. I understand that they still, you know, we look at them a little innocently, like, you know, Dolphins, they haven't really. No, I mean, this is year 3 they'll be going on with this regime. And they've had the quarterback, they've had players, they've drafted well, they've signed great free agents. What is the excuse now? All the resources are there. Health was one of the determining factors on why their season ended the way it did. You know, you could say they played in one of the coldest games in NFL history on the road in Arrowhead versus the Super Bowl champions. That could have been it too. But had they had their full roster, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Hopefully this year that's not going to be the case so that we don't hear about it in the end. But it doesn't matter if that's the case or not because being healthy is a part of living and playing up to a standard, right? When you're an organization, you could be riddled by injuries, but you're going to say get rid of the guys who's hurt. Figure it out. Get some guys in here that don't get hurt because if that's all we know, we're clearly something we're just repeating and we're not changing. So they're here now. Money has been well spent. Guys have got the contracts they deserve.
Mhm.
Players have played up to them. It's a matter of staying healthy and doing what they've done. I mean, they're one of the best offenses in the league. Very tough to stop. They've incorporated the run game. Raheem Mostert revitalized career down in Miami. Who knows any other 31-year-old running back who just comes off of an amazing all-pro arguable year, you know?
Facts.
That's Coach McDaniel. So, yeah, bro, I do think it is Super Bowl or bust, and I do agree that they are going all in. And I will say this. Since 1999, bro, people ask me why I'm not a Dolphins fan. I never could fall in love with Jay Fiedler, Sage
Mm,
Rosenfels, Ray Lucas, Jay Feely, uh, Chad Pennington, um, uh, Ryan Tannehill,
mm,
John Beck, Chad Henne. I
mm.
couldn't get that there. And I named maybe 7. You said there was 25 of them. So that's all I'm saying. That's partially why I'm not a Dolphins fan. I also did fall in love with a guy named Peyton Manning. And you know, my football fandom went to Indianapolis. But hey man.
There it is. There it is. And you mentioned Jordan Love at the beginning of the segment. He does sign on the dotted line, as they say. Right, 4 years, 220 million. That includes 75 as soon as you sign. June, do you love Jordan's extension?
Nah, love is strong. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a hater. I'm glad he got it. I'm excited to watch him play through it. You know, $75 million as soon as you sign. That sounds amazing. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and hate on that. What I do have like a little bit of like something's just not connecting in my brain is, you know, becoming the NFL's highest paid player after
Hmm.
having just one season on your resume in a season where you went to the playoffs, you beat Dallas on the road in those playoffs, and proceeded to lose to Detroit. Who did Green Bay lose to? Hold on.
I believe it was Detroit, wasn't it?
Could have been. Find that out for me, playoffs.
I got you.
But you know, my thing is like this is a this is equivalent. This contract is equivalent to like an NBA draft pick for me because this is all potential. They're signing him off of potential, much like, you know, in 2017, we could take a perfect example. Bam Adebayo gets drafted to the Miami Heat, and he's a rim running, you know, athletic big at Kentucky who played with Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. Bam Adebayo was no superstar at Kentucky. Bam Adebayo was no lockdown elite defending playmaking power forward. That wasn't him. I mean, he was known as an athletic shot blocking big who could run the rim and get alley oops. Willie Cauley Stein style. More athletic. But the potential in what they saw that Spo could do with Bam Adebayo and 5-6 years, and guys like Jimmy Butler in the locker room with him, and maybe a Kyle Lowry one of these years, maybe Goran Dragic for the end of his career. We're going to put a lot of guys around him that are going to help him win and grow. And we're going to have a coach that can coach the fuck out of this guy. And we're going to build a specimen. I mean, Bam Adebayo, if I'm not mistaken, is playing for Team USA right now in Paris, right? So we have an Olympian who came from potential, and we love to see it. Jordan Love played one season. I'm talking about one full season. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers in 2021. He only threw for 400 yards. In 2022, he sat behind Aaron Rodgers. And in 2021, that was a playoff team, Green Bay. Like Aaron
Yep.
Rodgers is still fucking at the top of his game, playoffs. No chance that Jordan Love is really going to play for real. 2022, last year, I think the only time he played last year was that game versus Philly Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in Philly. And we're like, yo, Jordan Love balling right now. Hold on. Philly's like the best team in the league. What the fuck? On the road? Okay. 2023 going to be nice. Aaron Rodgers gets traded. Obviously, there was that whole scenario. Mind you, as much as Aaron Rodgers was dealing with all this, Jordan Love is dealing with all this because we're hearing things like, is Aaron Rodgers going to be that mentor for him? Is Aaron Rodgers doing the right thing and still teaching him? And are they growing that friendship? whether or not he was or wasn't is besides the point, but it's the fact that this is something that everybody is in tune to. Jordan Love had to deal with being the backup like Brett Favre was, like Aaron Rodgers was, into the starting role like Patrick Mahomes. He had to deal with Aaron Rodgers essentially going on his time. We're going to trade you, but it's going to be where I want to go. And everything had to work out for Aaron Rodgers the way it did. And deservedly so, he put himself in position to do that as a player. But Jordan Love is just taking this like, wow, I come to the league 2 years in. My fucking starting quarterback might not like me. I look like I'm showing flashes. You know what? I'll get my opportunity 2023. He comes out, throws for 4,100 yards, 32 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions, 96 passer rating. I mean, these are top 5 numbers here. Now we're talking like, all right, hold on. this guy might be special. But we used our Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers sauce and formula on him as well. And so the bullet we have to bite or the check we have to write is going to come at 4 years, 212, highest paid player ever. And it's based on potential because Jordan Love hasn't done this at a consistent basis. By no means can anybody say we've seen Jordan Love do this. This is who he is. I mean, clearly he can do it. And it looks like he's going to continue to do it because in flashes, he's done it before. We want to see the consistency, and I expect to see it. I do think we'll see it. I'm not taking away from him. But to me, this signing, again, is very much like a NBA draft pick where they are signing him based on potential. Obviously, there is sample size, right? We have 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions to look at. There was a whole 16, 17 games to give your 17 games to give your analysis. But to say, hey, these are the only 17 we got, and now we got to make a decision, I think it's tough for Bay, just in the sense that this is a lot of fucking money. But I'm thinking they understand we got a great coach. We're putting weapons around him. He's a fucking good guy. He's smart. He won us a playoff game in his first year versus Dallas, versus our old coach on the road. We can trust him. I mean, fuck it. Like, this is the market the quarterback numbers at. We have a competent quarterback. Let's be happy about that, right? We don't want bad quarterback problems. Bad quarterback problems is who do we take in the draft this year? Are we going to be right about this pick? I'd rather fucking sign this guy for $52 million and figure out if he's the truth or not. Shout out to him. 55, I think the number is.
55.
Shout out to him. He's got it. I don't love it, like I said, but I understand where they did what they had to do, and I'm excited for Jordan Love to show that, yeah, I'm him.
I hear you. I think that this contract is going to come with a lot of pressure, and I do think that Jordan Love isn't ready to embrace the pressure. I mean, it's pretty much what he's done throughout his Packers tenure. Like you were saying, having to sit behind Rodgers a couple years, he got drafted. People were saying, "For what? Why are you guys drafting a quarterback right now?" Rodgers looks like he is primed for another Super Bowl run, maybe another 1 or 2 Super Bowl runs. And I think he faced a lot of scrutiny just off the fact that he was selected to play a game that he loves, and he handled it beautifully. He then, last season went on a tear. I mean, those last 8 games where he led them to the playoffs were just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. We came up here talking about it every week.
Absolutely phenomenal. Shout out to your uncle in the chat. I had already researched it. I just didn't want to cut you off. They lost to San Fran. Remember that rain game that we talked about? where the rain magically stopped.
Yo, facts, facts.
Yeah, the rain game. So they lost to San Fran in San Fran, which I mean they went on the road.
Yo, that's a fact. Shanahan.
I mean, he's up there, man. He's up there with Burrow. He's up there obviously with Tua. He's up there with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's above them at this point. He's the highest paid player in the NFL. And I think, like I said, this contract doesn't come with a lot of pressure, but I do think that he's ready to embrace the pressure. And I mean, he's the main reason I would say why they are, one of the NFC's top Super Bowl contenders into this coming season. I don't know if I love the contract as much as Jordan does,
No pun
but
intended.
right. But I do think that it's well deserved considering how he's handled himself, how he's faced the pressure of being a starting quarterback for a team and a franchise that is known for quarterback greatness. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love now, and we'll see if it's Jordan Love or if it's a mixture of Jordan Love and the process in Green Bay. You got anything else on this Jordan Love contract before we move forward, D?
Breeze, I just want to shout out to Breeze in the comments. He said 220 off rip is a great start to a career. That was facts. Wild pun was intended there, LOL.
Which, by the way, damn, I just had the number pulled up in front of me. He blew Aaron Rodgers' first contract extension 08
I mean,
way out of the
inflation, bro.
water.
I gotta pay fucking $8.99 for oat milk too. Fuck. I hope that made you laugh, dude. But inflation, bro.
We'll keep it in the NFL. We'll move over to the OTAs in New England. Gerard Mayo is leaving his stamp on the Patriots. He's changing things. He's keeping things. He is enlightening players. I mean, you sent me the article earlier. I went through it. I was looking at it like, wow,
Yeah,
this is very interesting. Later practice start times to get more meetings done in the morning, more offensive versus defense drills. I mean, he's letting the music play all throughout the mini camp, not just the little warm up period. He's
right.
he's encouraging camaraderie, putting pool tables, playstations, ping pong tables, in these creative spaces for these players to interact with each other and not just, as the article was saying, go to their locker and sit on their phone and start
Right,
doom
right.
scrolling, as they say. What were some of the keys and some of the things, highlights that stood out to you in that article as far as Gerard Mayo, pushing forward his own imprint in New England?
Well, player empowerment is the biggest thing I got out of this. He's like, even down to saying that if players want to come do an interview shirtless, they can do an interview shirtless. If they have something to say that's on their mind in the interview, let them speak their mind, because that's how human interaction naturally works. People have something to say, you got to let them say it. He want every trace of Belichick gone, is what Breeze said, and that's a fact. That's a fact.
I don't know about everyone, but or every trace,
not
but
the
most of
winning,
them.
not the winning, but Patriots practices were bland, right? You would
Mhm.
imagine the Patriot way. We've heard about it growing up.
Yep.
He is. It feels like Robert Kraft has kind of given him the keys to the organization and said, like, do things the way you see fit. And I like the fact that it's a new age as far as how the Patriots are looked at, or how they're going about business here in 2024, because it was clear that the Patriot way wasn't necessarily what got them the wins, right? I mean, Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Gronkowski, and a bunch of those Hall of Famers that they had come in and out of those doors were majority of the reason for their success. That being said, with a new regime, new coach, you just like to see, you like to see a coach that is for the players. I'm always going to be a fan of a players coach, because you can relate more when you kind of look at me for who I am, not for what you do versus what I do. Like, I know you're here to teach me. I know you're here to be the OG, to better this team. You're the one that's going to take us where we got to go. But like, we could also do it in a way where everybody's comfortable, right? And so it goes back to just, and I think that's all it is. I'll say, like, when you operate in a space that makes people feel comfortable around
Mhm.
you, I think that's when you get the best results out of life in general. Like, I'm big on, whenever I'm out, whenever I'm around people, I want whoever it is to feel comfortable or safe around me. I want whoever I'm around to know that not necessarily I could say this, I could say that. It's not about that, but it's, you know, I can feel how I feel. I can do what I need to do. I can ask what I need to ask and not feel judged, not feel rushed, not feel lower. And I think that gives people a confidence boost. So when your coach believes in you, you're gonna go out there and play like it. So I'm sure a lot of guys that were young playing for the Patriots had this intimidation factor with Bill Belichick, right? And it was just like, if I fuck, not necessarily like if I fuck up, he's not gonna let me play, because I don't know the ins and outs on how that worked. But I do imagine myself playing for Bill Belichick. Like, who wouldn't be nervous or a little, more unsettled when you're playing for one of the best, if not the best coaches ever? And so it's not to say Bill Belichick was the issue, but it's to say that when you do make an effort or a conscious effort to make those around you as comfortable as possible in their situation, I think you're going to get the best results. I do think the Patriots are going to play way more competitive football this year. I don't think we're going to see as much of a joke as we saw last year, which I was still surprised, because I understand Mac Jones is your quarterback, and but Bill Belichick is still the coach there, right? And effort and things like, like the bonehead shit we saw last year, I think that's all going to be cut out. I think everybody's going to play a little more relaxed brand of football. And, we'll see a decent Patriots team going out there every week. They still, are young. Drake May is a rookie quarterback. I don't expect much out of them at all. But go starting practice at 11 o'clock as opposed to 9:30 in the morning. Just so your coach knows, like, yo, chill out, we good. We still go get to work.
Mhm.
I want y'all to do good in meetings in the morning, and not, scribble through the meetings at night and forget what we, did at night, and then we come back in the morning and nothing. We're gonna do it the right way. We're gonna do it slow. So I think this is cool. I think this is good for Jared Mayo and the Patriots. I'm excited to see what they can bring to the league this year. Christian Barmore, unfortunately over the weekend was hospitalized with blood clots, so he's out indefinitely. He's one of, if not their, I wouldn't. They got some good defensive players over there, but he's one of their best defenders. And it's going to be big if he can't start the season. Obviously, this is one of those situations where we don't know if he's ever going to play football again. And I say that because Chris Bosh, right? Chris Bosh had the blood clot issue. We thought he'd be okay, and breaking news: Chris Bosh retires. Like, what? So,
Yeah.
obviously, he is not the Chris Bosh of those Patriots. However, he is a intricate part of their defensive line and what they got going on as far as young guys with talent in New England. So, speedy recovery to Barmore. Hopefully he gets well, and hopefully he can at least come back before the preseason ends, so he can get some rep. But it does seem like he'll probably miss some time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like you were mentioning, the Patriot way of just team first with no individuality attached to it, in the long run, it proved to be a little detrimental to the winning culture that the Patriot way once was. And I think Gerard Mayo sees that, and he wants, like you were saying, players to speak up if they feel some type of way about something. Do what they want, have fun, smile, have that camaraderie. I love what you mentioned, Drake May, and him being the number two right now, with Bailey Zappi and Joe Milton the third behind him. I, I mean, you got Brissett up there at one right now for the time being. And fun fact to show you how deep that this roster has kind of become as of recent. Uh, Brissett has thrown an interception on 1.4% of his career pass attempts, and that's tied with Aaron Rodgers for the lowest interception percentage of any quarterback with at least 1,000 pass attempts. In 48 starts and 1,600 pass attempts, he's only thrown 23 interceptions. So I mean, I'm seeing that this Gerard Mayo way now, and inspiring individuality and fun and camaraderie, to kind of tag along to that winning culture. I think it's going to pay off this season. I don't
Yep.
know how they'll finish the division off. I don't want to we'll start doing that, probably next week breaking some divisions down. But I think they're going to have a much better season this year, and I do think that Gerard Mayo is going, to have a good time being the
I-
Patriots head coach.
I'm happy for Jacoby Brissett, right? Like, obviously, journeyman, a guy who's filler, yo, our quarterback's fucked, help us out. And he fucking saves the day, right? We've seen countless times he's come in and put teams in a good situation or at least keep them afloat, win them a couple games. Like Jacoby Brissett has the resume as far as I don't even want to finish that sentence because it's gonna sound rude. But my thing is I'm happy for him because this is his second stint in New England, and his first stint was Tom Brady gets hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo comes in, Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt. Oh shit, Jacoby Brissett. I mean, third string quarterback makes his name on Thursday Night Football, or I think it was Thursday Night Football versus the Texans, and has a pretty good game. But like, your quarterback for the Patriots behind Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And under Bill Belichick. Like, that doesn't sound fun at all. I ain't gonna lie. It sounds miserable if you ask me. Like, if you fuck up, this is the last little bit of football you might play. Jacoby Brissett handled that like a professional, won some games for the Patriots, goes on to play for, the Colts and a couple other teams. Back in New England, playing that vet role again now that he's the number one and Drake May is the guy that's under his wing, probably learning a few things from him. In a setting like how New England is described this training camp through a new coach, Jared Mayo's regime, I'm excited. I think he's having a great time. I'm sure that things are going to flow for him. I'm sure that he's going to be able to be the leader he wants to be. He's going to be able to go out and win some games, make some mistakes. I don't know how long he's going to start for this team because you obviously do have a rookie quarterback who you want to, implicate and get him up to speed with the NFL. But I'm sure Jacoby Brissett is going to be there for a little bit, winning some game or trying to win some games and keeping them in the right position. As far as what they do with the division and all that, I mean, the Patriots, we're not expecting them to win games for real. Like, that's not what we're here for. The new coach, this, but I do think that due to him being so open and, locker room friendly and players coach vibe, we're gonna see that impact through their record.
1,000%. We'll keep it NFL. A lot of NFL talk, man. A lot of NFL talk.
Yes, sir. I can't wait, bro.
It's coming down to the wire. It's coming down to the wire. We'll stay in sort of OTAs, and we'll kick it with some NFL talk, man. I want to shout out your pops and to preface this conversation because his Las Vegas Raiders released I wouldn't say released a video, but there was a video released of them with a Muppet puppet, Patrick Mahomes jersey on it. And I don't even know who the player was. Inconsequential. Doesn't matter. Don't know you. Who cares? But my man had the Patrick Mahomes Muppet puppet with the curly hair and the Patrick Mahomes jersey, just yapping. It was brought to Patrick Mahomes' attention, obviously, and he said, quote, "It's still early in the year. It'll get handled when it gets handled." As of right now, the line on the first matchup between these two teams, Las Vegas Raiders, Kansas City Chiefs in Las Vegas, October 27, is Chiefs minus 5.5. Two questions for you, June. Was this a smart move by the Raiders? And do you think we should just outline that to minus 21.5 at this point?
So real quick, I do think it was pretty creepy that you transitioned onto the Raiders Mahomes thing, and Breeze is in the comments like a little bit of the Raiders effect, but he was talking about the Jared Mayo coaching in New England situation, and you're talking about a whole different. I just thought we're all in unison, so we are where we're supposed to be. Thank you, God. As far as the alt spread, no. 21. No. I don't think the
14, 13 and a half.
I don't think Chiefs going to do it to the Raiders that bad.
It's I mean, hey, time, so yeah,
the last time we saw the Raiders play the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken, Patrick Mahomes struggled fucking pretty bad, right? Threw a couple interceptions, and the Raiders, I don't know if they were able to come out with that win.
They did.
but
They did. That was Christmas Day, if I'm not mistaken,
and confidence
or Christmas Eve.
skyrocketed.
Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Um, so what was the first question?
Was that a good idea?
Was that a good idea? Fuck yeah, bro. Because bro, look, and to answer Breeze's question and your question, yes, this is a little bit of the Raiders effect. What I see in New England is gonna seem similar to what happened last year in Vegas, where Antonio Pierce, comes and coaches. Um, it's funny because people are taking Jared Mayo way more serious than Antonio Pierce. I don't know if it's because he's in the Patriots organization versus the Raiders organization, but I mean, two, legendary guys who rallying around wanting to be great for their former organizations. Anyways, yes, I do believe it's similar. Two, to answer your question, fuck out of here, bro. You look like Patrick Mahomes. Kermit the Frog sound like Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes sound like Kermit the Frog. Bro, you're a bum, bro. We beat you last time we saw you, bro. Beat us next time, bro. Say
A
what you gotta
bum is
say, bro.
crazy. A bum is
At the end of
crazy.
the day, it don't matter. You could say what you want. Words are words. And obviously we're trying to get under your skin here, Patrick. Obviously it's working a little bit because you took note to it, right? You acknowledged it. We got you to acknowledge it. All it comes down to is October 27th, the Raiders got to win. It could be ugly. They could win by one. It could be a game-winning field goal. They could win on 4 defensive touchdowns, no offensive touchdowns, whatever the case was. Patrick Mahomes throws for 500 yards, but they still lose. Whatever the case is, just win the game. Word to Al Davis, just win, baby. And so I think if it was like Jamar Chase or like the Bengals or the Ravens, like some other AFC rival, might have been a little corny. But it's the Raiders, bro. It's the Raiders versus Chiefs, and they hate each other. And this is AFC West football. So I don't have any issues with it. I think it was great. I think it was funny. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably going to handle that ass when he see them because he got this and his get back from Christmas, So tread lightly, yes, but nah, if you're the Raiders, stand on that shit, bro. Stand on that shit. We don't like Patrick Mahomes. They don't like him, bro. They don't like him. They don't like him for nothing, and they shouldn't like him. They shouldn't like him, Kelsey, Andy Reid, to hell with the whole Chiefs nation or kingdom, whatever y'all call yourselves. That's how I would feel if I'm a Raiders fan. And if I'm Antonio Pierce, I'm laughing. Yeah, y'all better bust their ass when we go play their ass, though, because they come up here and embarrass y'all. Y'all gonna be looking crazy. They're gonna be putting the memes out. Y'all gonna be a meme. You're gonna learn. And that's the message to the team for real. So, when it's like that, you could just kind of throw things back and forth to each other. Whereas it's not, I got to send an email to corporate and see when they get back. It's not one of those.
Corporate is crazy.
Bree says the network will 100% have another game on by the third quarter. That's funny.
Well, the first game is a 3:00 game on CBS, so it's
well. If you're now just joining us from the Raiders broadcast, Jim, we do have a good one here on hand.
Yeah, word, man. Hey, word to South Florida native Danny Towers, man. I ain't tripping. I'll get to it when I get to it. All right. And hey, I'm excited. Like you said, man, we split the games last year. We being the Chiefs, of course, split the games last year. Won the first one 31-17, lost the second one 21-14. I mean, that Christmas Day game, it was struggling. I think Mahomes threw like 2 or 3 picks that game, and I think
3, but
and one of them or 2 of them were pick sixes.
Pick six?
It was nasty. So I mean, yeah, all is fun, all is fair in war or whatever the phrase is. But I say,
well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We're here. If you were with us for the Chiefs at Raiders, we're gonna go ahead and switch the telecast here to Patriots at Colts. Tied up here 13-13 in the second quarter. Neither offense has scored yet.
You know what I mean? We apologize for putting you through that for that long. We apologize for putting you through that for that long.
They ain't gonna have a better game to put on.
That is funny. Whew. I can't wait for NFL season, but we are in the middle of the MLB, the second half of the MLB season. And Kev, shout out to Kev. He's not with us tonight. His flights got delayed on his way back from Cleveland, and he had a great time. Met Doc Gooden, his dad, being a longtime Doc Gooden fan, was able to speak to Doc Gooden because Doc Gooden showed a very, very kind gesture to Kev. So I'm sure we'll hear all about that. His flights were delayed. He has, business to get to. So we'll hopefully see him on the next pod. But he sent us an article about, and I want to get this right because I messed this up almost in the pre-show. It's Jensen. I believe it's Danny Jensen, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, June? Um, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how all this works, and I'm understanding it, but I'm gonna let you take that away.
Yo, Breeze, if you listening, bro, just hear this shit out, bro. I don't have the tweet. My messages are over there, but the tweet. Can you just pull up the tweet, EP?
Absolutely.
If you don't mind, do you have the tweet?
I believe that I do. Yes, I do. I do.
Read the tweet for us, and then I can break it down.
All right. All right. So there's a lot at play. This is from MLB scoring changes at scoring changes. There's a lot at play. Jansen is the batter that is at the plate when the Red Sox and Blue Jays game resumes, and he had an 0-1 count. Since the pinch hitter does not inherit a 2-strike count, all action will be charged to the pinch hitter. However, to make room for Jansen, the Red Sox DFA'd Reese McGuire, who was the starting catcher in the suspended game, meaning there's a high probability that Jansen will come in to catch. That would not only make him the first player to ever play for both teams in the same game, but if he enters at catcher for the restart, he will have both batted and caught in the same at bat. I believe the last professional player to play for both teams in the same game was Dale Holman, who did it in AAA in the 1986 season. Obviously, there have been a few funny things happen due to suspended games, but no one has ever played for both teams in the same game in the majors. And as this will get more attention as it gets closer to the game that resumes on August 26th, June.
We got a month. So that's a lot. Basically, the Red Sox traded for catcher Danny Jensen. And can you give me the other catcher's name? We designated for assignment Reese. Forgot his name.
Reese McGuire. So Reese McGuire gets cut because we're trading for Danny Jensen. Ironically, the Red Sox were playing the Blue Jays in a game earlier this season that got suspended midway. Danny Jansen was at bat, right? And so since he had an 0-1 count, there's going to be a new hitter for Toronto, because he was traded from Toronto to Boston. So there'll be a new hitter in this situation or scenario when the game resumes. But then Jansen, who was the hitter for the Blue Jays, will be now the catcher for the Red Sox. So in this one game that obviously is taking 2 parts to finish, started whenever it started, Danny Jansen was on the Blue Jays and he was hitting, and now he will be on the Red Sox catching. So essentially in the same game, he'll have played for both teams, and he hit and caught in the same at bat. Like, that's pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. That's some shit. Like, we saw the guy who got traded from the Mets yesterday, hearing the news on the bench during the game. Business is business, savagery. But this is just like mind fuck, because how, ironic is it that the Red Sox and the Blue Jays are the team that had the game that was postponed or canceled midway, suspended, to then be resumed at a later date. And then these are the two guys, Reese and Jansen, are the guys that are involved as far as transaction, where Reese gets DFA'd and Jansen is getting acquired, and now who was once on the team that we were playing earlier is now on our team, and he's just roles are reversed. Like, that's pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. Whoever realized that and like came up with that tweet, like, shout out to them, because it kind of hurts my head to think about it, but it makes total sense, Yeah, I had to reread it, and then read it again just to be like, wait, what? Like, I still don't.
That sounds fire as hell.
Yeah, that sounds pretty dope. That's a part. Is that something you tell your kid? Like, I was the
bro. Like, you're gonna be the only person to ever do that in MLB history, ever. I don't ever see a scenario coming up again.
Yeah, respectfully to Dan Holman, it was 1986 and it was AAA. Like
That's
respect, but
that's
we're in. We're, we'll talk about the majors, bro. We're talking.
respectfully, the Mets won the World Series that year. I mean, how good can that year be?
Hey man, no cap, no cap. And want to kick it over to the weekly Red Sox Yankees segment. What a series we just had
All right,
in
EP, yeah, man,
Boston.
that was a great show, bro. I'm gonna get out of here.
What a series we just had in Boston. Look, Boston still leads the season series 5-4, and it's going to come down to the last 4 game series, September 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th in the Bronx. I mean, I don't know. I think this is what September will be made of. You know what I mean? This is the hunt for October. We're getting into August right now, and Boston has a 5-4 series lead over the Yankees on the season. It looked honestly like it was just going to get away from the Yankees at a certain point. And I mean, we're fighting. We're up there. We're all right. We won this series 2-1. Boston took the first game, and I will say, like you said, in a great finish, in a great finish. The Yankees took the second game in a great finish, and then the Yankees, you know, kind of stood on business in that third game. What are you expecting between now and that second week of September from your Boston Red Sox, June?
At least another trade. I mean, we did acquire another pitcher today. I didn't get a chance to look and deep dive into all the trades. I want to wait until Wednesday night where, trade deadline is over and everything we've acquired and everything that we've sold is done. So we'll talk about trades and stuff like that. But I do think that we have another move or two possibly to make at the deadline. We still need help with our bullpen because for goodness sake, bro, like Saturday night, Friday night was great, right? We come down 3 runs in the seventh and still win the game. Like, holy shit, the Yankees looking like the Yankees. What's going on? What can we ever win? Like, it was great. Saturday, I mean, bro, bro, Kenley Jansen blew a save against the Dodgers. Up one. I replayed the scenario because of the irony that Kike Hernandez was the fucking, you know, winner of the World Series for the Red Sox, and he played with us. And Kenley Jansen was a World Series winner for the Dodgers, and now he plays with us, and all that happened. Fast forward, we're up 1 run, 2-strike fucking count, 2 outs, bottom 9, and was it Verdugo? Somebody hit a fucking bomb off the wall, and you guys took the lead, and we couldn't never get it back. But I'm tired of the blown saves. I'm tired of the blown leads, and so we need dominant mid-relief pitching. And until we do, I mean, this team's not going to be able to win, seriously. Obviously, in my opinion, we're overachieving just a bit because nobody probably thought that this Red Sox team was going to do what they've been doing for the last 35 calendar days or so. But nonetheless, if you do look at yourself as a, top AL team, a wild card contender, you want to be able to say you can feel confident about going into games late and taking out Tanner Hawk, who's your, all-star pitcher, taking out Brian Bello and, not and Cutter Crawford, and not feeling like, oh, once they come out the game, if they don't go 7 innings, we got to put Jansen in right after that. Like, no, you need somebody to be able to relieve at least 2.5 innings, before your closer could come in and do what he's got to do. So there's definitely work there. I do love the Alex Cora extension, though, 3 years. There was 2 things that Alex Cora wanted the Red Sox to promise him was family security and winning. And so, apparently, words of Alex Cora, they've helped him with the family and I don't know that it's security, like whether it's moving around the city or if it's like financial security, the 3-year deal, whatever that case was. He said that worked out for his family. Now it's winning time, and we've made a couple moves so far. So it's not like, Danny Jansen is a Red Sox now. We did get that other pitcher, as I mentioned, and I expect us to make 1 or 2 extra moves by Wednesday. But It's going to be a fun, like you said, man. This is the race to September. It's July 29th right now. We got one more big month of like, don't slump, don't fall out of the race, stay in it. And then after that, it's like, everything counts to a T. So um I'm excited, man. I'm excited for Red Sox baseball and what September can bring us, because it's one of those like we don't have nothing to lose situations. So I'm excited about that. And C in the chat say Yankees going crazy right now. Love them with all my heart. Money line here. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I don't know who C is. I wish I did, because I
I'm pretty sure I
appreciate
know who that
everybody
is.
want to be in the chat. But look, I once loved a girl with my whole heart, bro. That shit, listen, that shit ain't
Hey
Yankees, bro.
man,
Shit,
Yankees.
shit.
Shout out to C. I'm pretty sure it's my boy Connor, but if
Shout
it's
out to
not,
C though, bro. We
shout
appreciate
out to
you.
C. We appreciate you tapping in. We appreciate you tapping in, man. As we cross into this hour 15 minute, we're gonna go into in other news. Boston is up 6-0 right now against Seattle. Seattle is in Boston. Boston is up 6-0 against them in the bottom of the third. No outs. Man on the hot corner, looking like Boston's trying to. Oh, and right there, 7-0 with a double by Wong. There you go. Boom. Boston's up 7-0. Yankees are
Shout
up
out to
7
Connor.
to Yes, Yankees are up 7-2 in Philadelphia right now. Boy Jazz Chisholm hit his first home run in a familiar
Oh, he
ballpark.
did.
Yes, he plays in Philly. Well, he played for the Marlins against Philly in Philly multiple times a year. Familiar ballpark to him. Gets traded to the Yankees. We'll talk about that more on Thursday. Gets traded to the Yankees this week. Managed to hit his first home run in a very familiar ballpark. Yankees are up 7-2 right now. And very interesting. I want to get through this kind of quick, but Canada's women's soccer team, another Spygate scandal. Pretty much Monday, July 22nd, New Zealand's women's soccer team reported to French police that a drone had been flying over their practice session in Saint Etienne. French authorities were able to trace the drone back to Joseph Lombardi, a staff member of Canada Soccer. Canada and New Zealand were set to play each other on that Thursday, which was this Thursday I just passed. On Wednesday, July 24th, Canadian Olympic Committee said it had sent home Lombardi and the assistant coach to whom he reported, who's Jasmine Mender. Head coach Beverly Priestman released a statement that while she did not directly staffers who operated the drone, she was voluntarily removing herself from coaching in the game and apologized to New Zealand for the behavior that she said does not represent the values that our team stands for. Thursday comes around. Canada does end up beating New Zealand 2-1. Assistant coach Andy Spence led that team. On Friday, Canada's soccer chief executive David Blue told reporters that based on preliminary conversations, the federation believed it was not an isolated incident, but rather the latest example of a systemic culture. He also said Priestman would not coach at all during the Paris Olympics, and then FIFA announced that they will be, doing disciplinary hearings. And apparently, U.S. soccer has been aware of Canada's both men and women attempting to view their closed practices for years, which is in reference to that systemic culture that was quoted in the article. Another Spygate, this time in the Olympics. Very interesting for the coach to say, "Hey, I ain't telling them to do it, but I'm
Right.
gonna head out. I'm gonna head out."
Right. I mean, hey man, that's interesting shit. I appreciate that.
No
Um,
doubt, man.
I did want to bring this up. Gary Sheffield Jr., who is the host for Yankees Unloaded on YouTube, he has a tweet here. And so you just mentioned, Jazz Chisholm being traded from Marlins to the Yankees, which we'll talk about the Marlins, I'm sure, when Kev gets on here, because boy, they always love trading some shit to fans. Like, and the Yankees traded for right a guy who could play multiple positions. This is a guy who could play second base, uh, center field, right field, shortstop. Jazz Chisholm. So it says the Yankees playing Jazz Chisholm at third base tonight, who has, mind you, never played third base in his career and professionally. The Yankees are playing Jazz Chisholm at third base tonight because their second baseman, his name is Gleyber Torres, by the way, their second baseman refuses to move positions, who happens to lead both leagues, AL and NL, in errors at the second base position. In a contract year, he's doing this. His level of comfort within the organization should be studied. And I agree. Gleyber Torres, I'm not gonna lie, standing on business like that is crazy. I think that you need to kind of humble yourself in that regard, because I understand that you don't play any. I'm the second baseman for the Yankees, is his word. I'm the second baseman. Clearly, they want some change, brother. Clearly, they got a whole new fucking player, and they wanted to put him at that position. But you're holding out. All right, bet he has to have some sort of comfort level, as Sheffield mentions, because what the hell? Or is this like the last we're gonna see of Aaron Boone? Because get a fucking grip. Like, who's gonna tell somebody what to do around
It
here?
is.
And why is Jazz Chisholm wearing number 13? Like, have some respect, bro.
It is.
Y'all didn't win
This
a
is the
World
last we're
Series in
gonna
the
see of Aaron
2000s.
Boone.
Y'all ain't win a World Series really for real since Alex Rodriguez, bro. Y'all gonna do him like that?
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's your
boys and
organization,
girls,
bro. I don't
children
know.
of all. Hey, we're tanking to get Boone out of there. We're not gonna tank enough to miss the playoffs, but we're definitely gonna
Do
fuck
what
some
you
shit
gotta
up
do. What you
in the
gotta do.
meantime. But if you tuned into us, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this has been your Monday evening all things sports talk show, your number one sports talk show, hosted by me, sponsored by Small Town Productions. That was crazy. I almost got that backwards. My name is Small Town EP. That is Wade Julian. We will see you guys on Thursday with the Real in Sports. Thank you for tapping in.